Meanwhile, in stately Wayne Manor...
Greetings, citizens of Gotham. I hope your weekend is off to a great start. Another episode of Build the Classic 1966 Batmobile is headed your way on Brickscale Studio. Welcome back to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me. So if you've been following along, which you should have been, today's episode we should be building issues 93 and 94, but you'll notice in the thumbnail at least it says 95 and 96. That's because, as I mentioned last week, we are missing parts, or we were missing parts for issue 93. When I got my shipment, Fanhome sent me the magazine with the instructions, but not the parts pack. So we're skipping ahead to issue 95 and 96. So let's get into the build, and then afterward, I'll fill you in on when we'll be picking back up with issue 93, and then getting back on track with the regular sequence of issues. So let's get into the build.
And in the Batcave, deep below stately Wayne Manor...
All right, here is issue 95. So remember what I mentioned in the introduction, we should be doing issues 93 and 94, but they did not send me parts for issue 93. They sent me the magazine, but not the parts, and we can't do step 94 without 93, which is the back window is the part that we're missing, the plastic piece for the window. So we're skipping over that, and we're jumping ahead to issue 95. All right, and we are coming down to the wire here, because I believe there's only 25 more issues to go. So it looks like we're putting in the... They're calling it the exhaust stack, but I do believe these are really rocket launchers. But so that's what we're doing in issue 95. Here's the parts pack for 95. All right, so we have the exhaust stack base, and then we have the exhaust stacks. And there is one of these which is longer than the rest, so we're going to put that one over here. And then those are the same. So the exhaust stacks themselves are metal. This is plastic. So let's see. So we want this going this way. And we want to take the long stack. And it does have a keyhole pattern, so it can only go in one way. So that is going in. And yeah, we are not screwing or gluing. Those just fit right in. So let's see, this one should go on just like so. And then this one. Just like so. All right, so now we're going to bring the vehicle back. And obviously, so they want us to start out this way, actually, this way. And we are going to put these in just like so. Now, normally, we should have the back window here, but that's the issue that's missing. All right, so I'm going to turn this over. Actually, I'm going to turn it to the side because I don't want to rest it on there. And I know it's going to be hard for you to see, and I apologize. But I will show you at the end. So we're going to secure this in with 2 AM screws. All right, so those are secure right in there. like so. And that is what that is looking like. Oh my goodness. So this Batmobile is coming together. All right, and that is it for issue 95. So for 96, we won't need this at the beginning, so I'm going to put this aside. And then here is issue 96. Now we are into season 3, so that's why earlier I said we're coming down to the wire. There were only 3 issues, or 3 seasons for this television series. 120 total episodes, and we're on issue 96. So there's basically 1 issue per episode. So it looks like we get the trunk lid and some hinges. And then we're going to be attaching it to the car. Very cool. So there is 96. All right, so here are the parts. We have the trunk lid. We have the hinges. We have a prop catch. And then we have hinge brackets. So let's see. First thing we're doing, this is very nice. So this is the lid, and again, I'm just looking at the paint. Yeah, I guess I lucked out as far as paint, because I did see, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I did see some posts online about people complaining that their red paint was chipped. But so far so good. I am going to turn one of these over and put that down on there so we're not sliding around on this. Okay, so these are metal. And yes, one is labeled right, one is labeled left. So let's see. So 96B is the left one. So that's this one, and it's going here. So then the right one should go here. So basically you want the little peg here on both of these to be facing out. And we're going to attach those with some AM screws. All right, and then this is going to go just like so, and that is going in with an AM screw. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to move this to the side because we need to bring back the frame here. This is bad because this is these little... I don't like this because now we have these things sitting here. So I'm going to try to set it on its side. Wow, I really hate that. Okay. So this is going to slide in like so. And we're going to use CM screws to attach. So let me get some of those ready. And I do apologize that you will not be able to see this, but I just don't want to lay it upside down on those pipes. All right, we got one side in. Nice. So let me grab this other bracket. All right. So that is in there and there, there and there. And if we turn this over, you'll see that the trunk opens. Now it looks like there's going to be a little prop that will kind of hold it open, but we are not at that step yet. So that is it for issue 96. So let's move on to the LEGO side. Okay, here we are on the LEGO side. If you remember last episode, we were working on the fins. And then over on the scale model side, we attached the trunk lid, which we already did on the LEGO side, and we attached these, which we already have done on the LEGO side. We're doing steps 297 to 303, and that will finish up these fins, and we will get those installed, so let's get building. All right, so that is it for the LEGO portion. So we put this little piece on here, and then we got the fins on. So cool. The stickers down here, kind of a pain. Kind of don't think they really add anything. Just the red pieces would have been fine, but I mean, I guess there is that little extra bit of detail, but very cool. So that is the end of the LEGO portion. All right, let's recap what we have done in this issue. On the LEGO side, we got the fins finished and attached, and this little front piece here. I imagine next episode we'll be working on putting on this hood piece maybe. But that's it for the LEGO side. Over on the scale model side, my goodness, this thing keeps getting bigger and bigger. So we attached the exhaust stacks, as they're calling them, and then we also attached the trunk lid. So that will do it for episode 47. Wow, this scale model is really starting to come together. It is looking really sharp. Getting those stacks and the trunk, that rear end portion is starting to look amazing. I can't wait till we get to the front part. And get it all put together. But let's do our summary really quick. For the scale model, we did 7 steps and used 10 parts. For the LEGO side, we completed 18 steps and used 34 parts. Total to date, 419 steps and 531 parts on the scale model side, and 694 steps and 1,696 parts on the scale model side, on the LEGO side. Okay, so yeah, moving right along. Again, I say this almost every episode now. I'm kind of scared that we're going to finish the LEGO one before we finish the scale model. But again, if we do, we do. It's no big deal. So a little behind the scenes for you. I normally do multiple episodes. I record multiple episodes at a time, usually 4, mostly because the room that I am in here is a multifunction room. It has my personal computer where I'm sitting at right now, which is where I play PC games, do any sort of personal stuff on the computer, also where I edit these videos. And then I have behind me, you can see my build table, which is where I do the building of the models and the LEGO. And then over here, which you can't see, I have another desk for my work computer. So I work from home. So the room functions for 3 separate tasks, and unfortunately the way that the build table is, I kind of have to pull it out into the middle of the room to get the lights and the camera, so it kind of disrupts the space. And so, like I said, I usually will record 4 episodes back to back, and then I can push that table back up against the wall and out of the way for a few weeks before I need it again. The room is just not big enough, and I don't have a dedicated space to leave the camera, the lights, and everything set up all the time. So, we do with what we can, right? So it is what it is. So that's why, long story short, or short story long, so we skipped issues 93 and 94 because I was missing parts, but I actually have the parts now. But again, like I said, because I record 4 episodes in a row, I've already recorded the episode for issues 95 and 96. So we're just going to go ahead with that next week, and then we'll jump back in with 93 and 94, and then we'll be back on track. But I did want to just call out Fanhome really quick, only because it's very easy. We all get into this trap where when things go wrong, we're very quick to complain about it and make posts on social media, et cetera, et cetera. But when we have a good experience, a lot of times we don't share that. So I did just want to share a good experience I had with Fanhome. As you know, we were missing issues 93 and 94. And also, sort of another behind-the-scenes tidbit, I stockpile parts. So I started receiving parts for the Batmobile probably 6 months before I started building it, just in case we ran into supply issues or missing parts. That would give me kind of a buffer. But as you know, if you've been watching the series from the beginning, that did not work out so much because we had 2 separate instances where we had to stop and we didn't have Batmobile videos for a few weeks waiting for parts because they were just out of stock. I mention that because when you receive a shipment, the policy is that you have to report any missing or damaged parts within 60 days of receiving your shipment. But since I often receive my shipments and then, they get put away for several months, I blow that 60-day window. And that was the case with issue 93. I discovered it was missing, but it was well past the 60-day window. It was probably, probably at least 90 days. I mean, it was way past the window. So I contacted Fanhome and I was right up front. I said, hey, I'm just getting to this part of the build. I received these parts back in October. And so I realized that it is past the 60-day window, but I am missing parts for issue 93. If you could send me another issue 93, I would be more than happy to pay for it, since again, I'm, outside of the window. So I sent that email January 26th, and they replied the same day and said, oh, thank you for your email. Please fill out this form letting us know what your issue is. So I just had to fill out this little form, basically restating what I did in the email to them. I mean, again, I mentioned, I realize I'm way past the 60-day mark. I am more than happy to pay for a replacement part. And of course, I didn't reply back to them until the next day on the 27th and sent the form back in saying, I'm past the window, I'll pay for it, no problem. They, again, responded back to me the same day and said, oh, we're terribly sorry that you're missing that part. Don't worry about paying for it. There'll be no extra charge. We will ship it to you in the next few days. And that was on the January 27th, and I received the part on February 3rd. So they handled that very quickly, and they elected not to charge me when they very well could have, because like I said, I was way past the 60 days. So I know that Fanhome has gotten a bad rap with out-of-stock parts and people waiting around for parts, and there are always complaints on their Facebook page about bad customer service and all sorts of things. And again, I myself have had problems with waiting for parts. it would be, 2-3 months before we would get any parts because we're out of stock or whatever, and we've had to shut down and not do Batmobile videos for weeks at a time. So I've been on the receiving end of that as well. But again, we're always quick to complain or call out something when it goes bad, but I just wanted to mention something that went very good and that I was very pleased that they resolved it so quickly. I thought, that I was going to have to pay for the extra parts, and then it was going to be, weeks before they were going to show up. But the whole thing was free, and I got my parts in less than a week. So thank you, Fanhome, for resolving that quickly, and knock on wood, now that we're coming down to the last 20 or so issues, there's no more problems down the road, that it's just going to be smooth sailing from now on. Speaking of which, I'm expecting one more shipment, and then I will have all of the parts. So I believe the last shipment I got was through issue 116. So I'm just waiting for those last 4 issues, which should be here next month sometime, or toward the end of this month, toward the end of February. And then we'll have all the parts to complete the scale model. So that's what I mentioned in, we're getting down to the wire, it's coming down to the end. We started this in October of 2024, and it looks like we'll be finishing this up sometime mid-2026, so about a year and a half. So very cool. But that was rather long-winded, so I won't keep you any further. But remember, we just gave away a few weeks ago to one lucky winner of our 500 subscriber giveaway, a 1,200-piece LEGO Star Wars AT-AT set. So our next giveaway is going to be at 1,000 subscribers, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. It's totally free. And the 1,000 subscriber prize is going to be a new sealed copy of the LEGO Endurance. I've already built my copy, and it's a very fun build. It's very cool, very interesting, and historical. You kind of learn a little as you're building about this historical voyage, and it's a great set. Highly, highly recommend it. So definitely hit that subscribe button. And also don't forget to like, comment, and share the video. And then, of course, as always, until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I'll see you soon.